Hey all, and welcome back to Medan's Curator's Cut. Well, we've reached the ship again, and so far, apart from losing Conrad, nothing much seems to have changed. But I imagine that'll, start to change, ironically enough, once we get inside the ship, eh, Flame?
Yeah, and I love your intro there of, apart from the fact that a guy died, everything's the same as it was.
Well, I'm not the one who got him killed.
Well, I know, but still, you're the one who just glanced over it. But yeah, the biggest change that we're going to notice off the bat is the fact that we still haven't seen Brad. Brad is still hidden away.
Yeah.
So we won't actually see much from him for quite a while, actually, this time around. So the game's going to give us ample time to forget his existence, and then it will go back to him. So just don't be surprised when that happens.
Alright, so Brad's just going to jump out of a cupboard somewhere and go, oh my god, I was so scared!
Not quite, no.
Oh.
But yes, we're in the chapter now, the really long one, where we're making our way onto the Medan, and I forget who we controlled last time. I think this time we'll pass us over to either Alex or Julia.
I'm trying to remember. I think we hit most of the characters, I feel like, apart from maybe, Alex and Julia. I know we had time with Fliss, we had time with Brad, we definitely had time with Conrad, because that's how he died.
Yeah.
But I don't really remember much of... Oh no, we did have a bit of time with Alex and Julia, because there was the fake Alex, wasn't there?
Yeah, what was it? Orson? Was it him?
I think it was, yeah, because he's got the fucked up eye.
Mm-hmm. Orson or Olson, I don't remember how names were. What would have been crazy if it chucked you into the role of one of the pirates. There's characters here part of the story, and you don't really get to control them at all.
Well, it is trying to build up the five, isn't it, the main crew, and so by exclusively giving you control of the good guys, I guess they wanted it to be more impactful when they die compared to maybe when the pirates die.
Sure. Alright, so we're playing as Julia now, and I think Richie made a prophecy a part or two ago, and she gon' die.
Well, I don't know whether she definitely will die, because in the end she didn't drink the beer. Because pretty much drinking the beer is the thing that definitely offs her. I'm not sure whether the fact that she did the rising too soon but didn't drink the beer, how that affects it. But I'm sure we'll see soon enough. I mean, to be fair, her brother's dead, she might as well die too.
What?
What the fuck, Richie?
It's a horror game, God, just kill everybody.
I think you're projecting right now, Richie, but I'll say no more.
Rude.
How do we move on from this then?
We don't. There are ghosts. They will be here all day, every day, and the rats too. Oh man, I've seen a certain character end with the rats. That was fun.
I don't think I've seen that. I've seen a few of the different outcomes you can get. Obviously, I've done 3 playthroughs, my initial one and the 2 recorded runs, and I have looked up some of the other things that can happen online, but there are also some things that I haven't seen. So,
So Flame, the curator, he is not. He's just a guy online recording stuff for the internet, really.
Basically.
Yeah, that pretty much defines me, and I don't have quite the cool voice and posture that the curator himself has.
Oh, I thought you were going to say me there, but I don't know, maybe my ego is getting the better of me this Halloween.
Yeah, remember who actually recorded this fucking game for us?
Remember who edited this, with your mouth noises and such.
Yeah, remember who hung around late to actually render it off for you?
Yeah, remember who edited it so you could render it off.
I'm starting to think you might be...
Yes, anyway.
Since, we finally made it to the Orang Medan, and didn't really go over it all fully, do you want a bit of story time with Richie about the mystery of the Orang Medan?
Well, if it makes it easier to edit, go ahead.
Right, well, so, there's a couple of variants of the story, but one English reference to the ship and the incident of the Orang Medan is in the May 1954 issue of the Proceedings of the Merchant Marine Council, published by the United States Coast Guard. There is an earlier reference published on October the 10th, 1948 in the Albany Times of Albany, New York, and references its original source as Elsevier's Weekly. The word orang is Malay or Indonesian for man or person, whereas Medan is the largest city of the Indonesian island of Sumatra, which gives the approximate translation of man from Medan. Accounts of the ship's accident have appeared in various books and magazines, mainly in Fortiana, which is basically related to an American writer called Charles Fort. The factual accuracy and even the ship's existence are unconfirmed, and details of the vessel's construction and history, if any, remain unknown, so nobody really knows anything. Searches for any official registration or accident investigation recorded have proven unsuccessful. The first time I think it ever appeared was a series of 3 articles in the Dutch-Indonesian newspaper De Locomotief, Samarans, Kandels and Adventi Blad. The story is mostly the same as later versions with significant differences. The name of the ship found the Orang Medan is never mentioned, but the location of the encounter is described as 400 nautical miles southeast of the Marshall Islands. The second and third articles describe the experiences of the sole survivor of the crew, who was found by an Italian missionary and natives on Toangi Atoll in the Marshall Islands. The man before perishing tells the missionary that the ship was carrying a badly stowed cargo of sulfuric acid, and that most of the crew perished because of the poisonous fumes escaping from broken containers. According to the story, the Orang Medan was sailing from an unnamed small Chinese port to Costa Rica and deliberately avoided the authorities. The survivor, an unnamed German, died after telling his story to the missionary, who told the story to the author Silvio Scherli of Trieste, Italy. The Dutch newspaper concluded with the disclaimer, "This is the last part of our story about the mystery of the Orang Medan. We must repeat that we don't have any other data on this mystery of the sea, nor can we answer the many unanswered questions in the story. It may seem obvious that this is a thrilling romance of the sea. On the other hand, the author, Silvio Scherli, assures us of the authenticity of the story." Silvio Scherli is said to have produced a report on Trieste export trade in 1959, and I think there was evidence found by the Skittish Library of a few 1940 newspaper reports of the incident taken from the Associated Press in British newspapers, the Daily Mirror and the Yorkshire Evening Post. But there were differences in the story again there, the location being the Solomon Islands, and the SOS messages different from later reports.
Okay.
But pretty much they all seem to go to Silvio Scherzi. So in all likelihood, he probably, made it all up.
Yeah, I didn't know there was a single account of, like, zombies and whatnot in there, so I'm going to hazard a guess that it's all bullshit.
Yeah, well, then we come to sort of the bit about the possible accident.
Oh, God almighty, go on.
No, it continues. Well, we've got time. It makes this easier.
Shut up and continue.
So, at some point of time, in or around June 1947, 2 American vessels navigating the Straits of Malacca, the city of Baltimore and the Silver Star, among others passing by, picked up several distress messages from the nearby Dutch merchant ship Orang Medan. A radio operator aboard the troubled vessel sent the following message in Morse code. SOS from Orang Medan. We float. All officers, including the captain, dead in chart room and on the bridge, probably whole of crew dead, and then a few confused dots and dashes later. 2 words came through clearly. They were, "I die." Then after that, nothing.
Wow.
When the Silver Star crew eventually located and boarded the apparently undamaged Orang Medan in an attempt at a rescue, the ship was found littered with corpses, including the carcasses of a dog, everywhere, and with dead bodies found sprawled on their backs, the frozen and allegedly badly frightened faces of the deceased upturned to the sun above, with mouths gaping open and eyes staring straight ahead, with the corpses resembling horrible caricatures. No survivors were located, and no visible signs of injuries on the dead bodies were observed. Just as the ship was to be prepared for a tow by the Silver Star to a nearby port, a fire then suddenly broke out in the ship's number 4 cargo hold, forcing the boarding party to hastily evacuate the doomed Dutch freighter, thus preventing any further investigations to be carried out, and soon after the Orang Medan was witnessed exploding before finally sinking. So, all fun.
Why can't we have that ending? Like, the whole thing just goes up in flames.
I know, I think that would have been a bit more exciting.
Well, I mean, we did talk about toward the end of the last one that there was that alternate ending that was left over about how it exploded at the end. But it is interesting listening to that, because you can kind of see the stuff that they've taken from the source stories and tried to inject their own explanations for. Like, in terms of like the way the bodies were found, just staring blankly, we see that, and they've just elaborated on, like, instead of the sulfuric acid tail, they've got this hallucinogen like in place, and it's just like, it feels like they've taken a bit from these different tales and tried to make something from it.
I mean, I think I really like the idea of it, like taking a real life mystery and trying to sort of fill in the gaps in it. It's always quite exciting to do, especially considering this one does seem to be pretty much entirely fictional. I mean, I would go so far as to say that it's just the creation of a writer.
You think?
And just to see how far he could get with telling a story and making people believe it. But kind of just running with that idea it's always a fun creative exercise, and I think that they did do an interesting job of running with that exercise. I think that they maybe just could have done a better job of it.
How's it looking?
So, like, if we're going off that mindset of just taking an established story and, I guess, just trying to flash it up a bit, make it a little bit more, engaging, I'm not sure what else they could have done with, like, specifically the story itself. Like, not so much the execution, because, like, I know we talked about the execution of how they told us and explained the mystery. That was the bit that was a little bit lacking. But as for what they're actually going with, I think this is fine.
Yeah, I mean, I suppose
Big man on campus.
part of me,
Someone should create a distraction.
and I think this is just sort of my tastes for narratives, I would have quite enjoyed it had it stayed firmly in the supernatural,
Yeah.
because having a sort of answer but not a real answer, to me, for horror, is always the thing that's the most terrifying. It's terrifying when it's something that I can't explain. And so when you have an explanation, when you show the monster, basically, it just loses some of that spark and some of that terror.
Why did they just let her try and push it on her own? That doesn't make any sense.
Because they're assholes.
But that's funny! Like, you would give her at least one go to try and do it herself, come on. You couldn't not.
Can you imagine if she picked it up with one hand and just put it up against the door?
No, if you let her struggle for a while and then someone else did that, that'd be what would make it funny. So yeah, I was taking the other approach. Instead of just, like, intimidating them as a distraction, like, I just went to try and, like, block off the door, which clearly hasn't worked too well.
Oh Jesus, there was a big old hole in this wall. Oh, if only we had schematics of this doomed ship before coming aboard.
Yeah, it's almost like we're bluffing this on the spot.
Oh, did you see that spooky camera angle?
Oh yes.
Also, can I just say that Alex left first, but then he was behind Julia, but then he was in front of her again. Continuity error. Guys, this is a video game. This is not like a case of you are filming something and it's sometimes somewhat easy to, slightly muck it up. This is a video game where you know your order of things, for God's sake.
Don't fucking start, right? There's ghosts on this ship, it's magic, just deal with it.
But to be fair, that did seem like a rapid series of cuts. They could have cut out some time from that.
Oh, yeah.
So, Richie, what I'm saying is you're bullshitting us.
I think he's the one who wrote the stories about the Medan.
Yeah, like, that's it. We have no proof otherwise.
Ah, darn it, you guys have caught me. Like, I was just desperately trying to string everybody along since, the 1950s, because I'm definitely that old.
No, Richie, roll with it. Then you might get royalties from this modest selling game.
That is true.
Like, you open up the Burning Ash and, it's all about the Man of Medan for some reason. Again, why are the rats so detailed, but the character faces are not?
Because the rats are the scary part, maybe?
Well, agree to disagree. Have you seen Julia's face lately?
Well, I was talking about the rats being the scary part, and, I'll let you feel the rest of that in yourself. But yeah, this is another part where we would have been controlling Conrad if I hadn't,
Got him
let
killed.
let him meet his end. But yeah, now we're going through looking at all the same stuff that Conrad looked at, but as Julia, and I was hoping we might get some slightly different reactions, but it seems like she's just looking at the picture and not saying anything.
Well, she doesn't know what she's looking at. Why would she comment on it? Oh, spooky!
Yeah, we talked about how underwhelming that scare was last time too.
Flickering lights, the most evidence of ghosts yet.
How is that light bulb even working at all after how long it's been?
Flame, this is something Paige and Pat pointed out. Why is this here in the bathroom exactly?
Yeah, like literally, there is no reason for this to be here, because obviously it's a letter by a guy to his family, finished, ready to go. I mean, unless he was writing it on the toilet, but like, God, that's disgusting.
Well, he couldn't have, because there's no body here.
Well, that is also true, yeah. Like, there is literally no reason for that to be here, at all.
We're just operating on Resident Evil logic at this point.
I mean, to be fair, it might have fallen out of his pocket or something.
Oh, you know what? Whatever. Let's just roll with that.
I'm not helping at all here, am I?
No, you're that guy
you're not.
in like murder mysteries who nitpicks everything and dies like at the very end, if at all.
Well, I mean, it's a survival instinct to be a petty little bitch.
You're very good at it.
I'll take that as a compliment, even though it wasn't meant as one.
Oh, great.
Just thinking about like how many illnesses they should be contracting just walking through this place right now.
Well,
Oh yeah,
is there anything we can use
like,
down here?
this place is gross. And also, like, I mean, this is entirely just sort of the way that my mind works, is, my god, how cold are their feet? Like, you're walking on, like, what must be freezing cold metal. How are you you not getting hypothermia?
Well, maybe the spooks from the ghosts are more scary, I suppose.
Plus, they probably wouldn't get these problems instantly. They've got too much adrenaline from all the stuff like randomly crashing and flickering and shit around them for I'm a bit cold to be their immediate concern.
Also, Junior, he's being really aggressive, like saying "shut up, dipstick" and so on. Like, it's enough to make a grown man wet himself.
Suspiciously nowhere to be found.
Okay, I'm glad we're not recording these in the same room.
I don't want to say anything, but maybe I'll need a change after this part. Oh, tiny rat skull.
Yeah, there it is. Seems like Julia doesn't have much of a reaction to it either.
Well, that would require her to have a character, first and foremost.
True.
That being said, Alex is still the one with the least character, so poo on you, Flame.
Fuck you, I like Alex.
Fine. Alright, what we got here? The skipper has KO'd the booze. Fuck him, I suppose. A bunch of coffins are on board. Make sure the coffins are all put... Oh, thanks, Flame. I was reading from the past there.
Last time I went too slow and you scolded me for that. I sped it up and you scolded me for that now.
Fuck you, that's why.
It's fine, I know I have to record these games because you're too scared.
I know.
No, I think there was a thing here that I skipped past last time by mistake, so let's say this particular premonition.
Bang! Oh, Jesus! Oh, her fucking face there, goddamn.
That was scarier than the part where the other guy died.
Also, it's a shame, because we know that maybe can't happen, because Conrad isn't here anymore.
Yeah, like, it's odd that the premonitions are fixed, despite stuff that could have changed beforehand.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, definitely. That is something... I suppose, in a way, it makes sense because they want you to have this sort of replaying it constantly to get all the different outcomes. And so they want to sort of say, so the story could do this in one instance, but it may do this in another if you have these sets of circumstances. But then I do think that it's something that Until Dawn did better. Because even though I think that it still had a similar thing of it was only under certain circumstances that those things could happen, the scenes that you saw could happen in could still happen in your playthrough no matter what. So it wasn't a case of saying you're completely locked out of getting this death, because this hasn't happened. If that makes any sense. I feel that was a bit of a ramble, but I hope the point got across.
Well, I feel like there's a possibility that they're encouraging a go find all the things kind of mindset, which I suppose if you're rotating them around depending on options could make it a bit of a clusterfuck. But I feel like the kind of people who want to go and find everything, although like, I believe there is an achievement, but it kind of alienates the casual approach.
Yeah.
Well, two things. Number one, we completely forgot that Alex and Julia are both wearing shoes, so that's the whole tangent about the cold feet thing. Completely useless now. And number two, I forgot what number two was, but that baseball cap is still sending me try hard dad vibes, so I'm not too scared of this guy.
Yeah, it's not terrifying in the slightest. I mean, really what he needs to do is, turn it around backwards and that'll make him a little bit edgier.
Oh, now he's a Pokemon trainer. Oh, Jesus. Yeah, we got her. She ain't going nowhere. Don't make me call you Dipstick. I'll do it. It is now your duty to protect this tiny brown castle.
Yeah, and she doesn't have Brad to jump down to help her this time.
Ooh, how will things play out? Well, you'll just have to wait until next time to find out. Tatty bye.